late evening here. The Trojan Tailgate Show, edition number 1 of 2019. Jacob Harrell, Caleb Harrell with me, and we are recording this on a Thursday night right after Telfair County played Lanier County in softball. Unfortunately, the Trojans took a 10-1 defeat in that. But now we're going to change our thoughts to football tomorrow night, as here in McRae, right behind us over here at Trojan Field, the Telfair County Trojans will be taking on the Bleckley County Royals. And, guys, Trojans coming off a big win over Wheeler in the border war this year. And now they come home and get a Bleckley team that defeated the Trojans 35-26 last year, a game where the Trojans got behind but battled back. So big opportunity here for the Trojans coming up tomorrow night. And, Jacob, just your some early thoughts on that game.
You talking about the Wheeler game or the one coming up?
The one coming up tomorrow
the one
night.
coming up, of course, yeah. Bleckley County in week 1 coming off a defeat from Veterans High, which is, I think, a 5A school. I
and
believe.
they defeated Hawkinsville, actually, in their first
and
game.
They pretty much obliterated Hawkinsville, just about like the same performance, really, that we had against Wheeler. I mean, scoring 48 points.
48-0,
yeah. 48-0, and just losing 28-10 to Veterans, so they put up a pretty good fight there. But going into tomorrow night, I do believe that if we can kind of mimic the same performance that we had against Wheeler, and I even said it during the broadcast last Friday night against Wheeler, I'm not comparing both schools' talents because it's much of a difference in the talent pool, of course, but just mimicking the performance that we had against the team. If we can do that, we could really make this game a whole lot closer. Might even have a much bigger chance this year to win.
Yeah, Caleb, your thoughts going into tomorrow night?
Well, I think last year this game was, a little bit of a slow start, but like you mentioned, it become competitive. I think it'll be a close game. Even closer than last year. To be honest, I don't know much about Bleckley this year, but with the Trojans, if we have Trey in the backfield. I believe Cameo runs the ball a little bit also for us. Noah, who is a returning quarterback, so to me that's big. I've lost my thoughts. Anyway, that's big, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the Trojans have a chance tomorrow night. I look forward to a really exciting game.
Yeah, I think so too. We saw a lot of good things, and going back, tracking a little bit, talking about the Wheeler game. We saw a lot of great things last week, Jacob, on both sides of the football. What was something that stood out to you from the game against Wheeler for the Trojans?
Well, one thing that really stood out to me was Noah Harrelson as far as passing accuracy. I mean, he did it a lot in the Wheeler game, and he seemed to really improve as far as accuracy comes. I mean, I know he had a couple of bad throws there, but of course I know one really good throw that he had was going from, if you want to say, right to left on the screen. That one pass he had to Manny Cone, actually
35-yard touchdown pass.
35-yard touchdown pass, and he also had another touchdown pass that was right there on the sideline to Manny. That Manny did a good job of keeping his feet in bounds and going in and dancing into the end zone. Just all-around quickness of the feet that he had, the on point that he was during those good throws that he made, and Trey was his normal self in the game. I loved to watch him run again. You could tell that Trey has added a couple of pounds, as we saw from last year, too. Seems to be around the same size as he was. But he was just as fast, just as agile. Defense looked really good to me. I know, then again, people are going to say, well, this was Wheeler County. But still, the performance itself was great. No matter who you were playing, it was great. I really was impressed by Patrick Tukes. Patrick's got room to grow. I do believe that he's got the potential to be playing college football for a probably one of the smaller universities. But, of course, I mean, this whole defense, from what I saw Friday night, if they can really go through practice and improve on the last performance, I think Bleckley's got something that they'll really have to really step up for.
Your thoughts on things from the Wheeler, coming out of the Wheeler game?
Well, I watched the game a little bit, listening to y'all. I believe one thing I took away from it was that Manny Cone, his performance.
Yes.
when Wheeler was not targeting, excuse me, that's not a good word, but they were focusing on Trey. It allowed Noah to turn his eyes over to Manny, and Manny's probably standing over here wide open. How many times throughout the Wheeler game? So it gave him an opportunity to shine, and I think if Manny can take last Friday and take it throughout the rest of the year, well, other teams can no longer just focus on Trey. They have to look at Manny. They have to look at others on the offense as well.
Great point, because the touchdown pass was set up beautifully after the Trojans ran the jet sweep there a couple of times, and that they got those the defensive backs focused in on that, and that was a play action, actually bringing the slot back in motion on that particular play and faking it, then throwing the ball deep. It all set it up, and I think that's where the Trojans have got to get back to. I think this team kind of got away from the run game last year a little too much at times.
Yeah, you're right. There was a lot of times where they really tried to force some pass plays in there, and it really they really kind of tired themselves out and ran themselves over with it when they were making some legitimate yard gains with the running game, no matter who it was, Trey or Cameo or whoever else. I think they got a little too overconfident got too much confidence and too much, I guess you say, ego behind the pass game there, to where they started to use it a little too much. But another point I wanted to make as well, that one thing I forgot about until I just thought of it, is on the special teams. One person I want to key in on again on the special teams was Antavius DeGaulle as well. He had 3 big plays on the special teams. I know at the very beginning of the game, he had the tackle that forced that fumble that allowed the Trojans to have the big-time field position there. Throughout the first half, like we saw, it was played from Wheeler's 35 onward toward the end zone. So the special teams also will play big tomorrow as well.
And I think one thing that stood out to me was really the aggressiveness of our defense last week. It looked to me like maybe we've gotten away from, when Coach Burleson first came here, he brought that attacking style from Johnson County. A lot of man coverage, a lot of blitzes, a lot of pressure. I don't know. It seemed to me maybe we've gotten away from that a little bit. And two, maybe we had to do that from personnel-wise, but I think he really likes the nucleus he's got on defense and is able to do some things like that. And I thought they really, really just kept the pressure on Wheeler County, especially Patrick Tukes up front was just an absolute dominator in the game last week.
I agree with going off what I watched. I agree also, and I don't know Coach V's plans for this season, but it seemed to be that I'm not saying Coach V has not been creative.
No.
But I think this season that going off, of course, it's just one game, but it seems Coach V is maybe becoming even more creative. Let's do this way, and it opens things up.
Yeah, it looked like to me, I mean, from what we saw a good bit, we saw a lot of man coverage last week, and we saw that pressure. Our safeties, I thought, played really well. Our linebacker play, Cameo, I remember one particular play just absolutely lit somebody up.
Oh, yeah, I as a defensive-minded person, and especially watching them, I mean, I honestly loved that play there. Trey also had a big-time play where it was ruled an incomplete pass, but he sure rang that receiver's bell.
Yeah, and Trey is very versatile, being able to either, play with his hand down and come off the edge that way, or in a stand-up position. So I think that gives, when you can, on defense, when you can do that, when you can mix it up a lot, I think that really helps. But one of the other things that stood out to me was we seem to do a much better job of running the ball between the tackles.
Yeah, that right there really impressed me. And, of course, you saw a lot of times with Cameo was really dependent upon last year to do that jet sweeping, and Trey and Cameo both would always try to hurry up and get to that outside edge before it closed off. And there was a lot of times we saw last year we harped on the offensive line having to play good in this game. Like they got to keep the gaps open, especially for the run plays as well. And it almost got to a good stretch of games to where if Trey was running the ball, he'd get it and try to charge through a hole, and just about the time he got there, it shut. So that's the thing about it. Trey has got, and this line did a whole lot better of a job at doing that too. They kept the holes open. Trey hit it as fast and hard as he could, and they got some significant gains there too. Cameo got a little bit in between the tackles running as well.
Yeah, I mean, because last year it seemed like sometimes the jet sweep was our only running play.
Yeah.
But when you can establish that inside zone run, it really changes the dynamic of this offense, and I think that sets up the play action.
It does, and because it makes the linebackers say, hey, well, we gotta look here first.
Got to stop the run first.
Got to stop the run first, and then once you get them thinking, hey, we got to stop the middle first, and then boom, you pop one around the end. It's who knows, you could take it 50 or you could take it all the way.
And I think Trey Best inside running between the tackles is underappreciated. Everybody knows he's got speed and he can get to the corner. But Trey is tough and strong, and he showed you last week he can run. He's durable enough to run between the tackles consistently.
Yeah, and I think going off what y'all said, he's become more toned or bigger. Been in the weight room. Credit that Coach Feed on that also. Adding that muscle, but not losing speed, it allows him to be able to take those hits better and pretty much just bounce off and gain more yards.
Yeah, and I thought, and we would be amiss if we didn't mention also the play of the offensive line last week, which I thought was very good.
Oh, absolutely. They really did a great job of keeping those Wheeler defenders off. I mean, of course, to me, the line, they looked to have gotten a little bit bigger to me. It may have been just the size comparison of the Wheeler defenders, but I don't know. But the line did nonetheless, they did a great job of really holding the blocks, not really getting any holding penalties there as well, just holding the blocks, advancing to the next level to actually create bigger and bigger plays. And that's the one thing I'm sure that you'll touch on this too. Go ahead and segue into it. Is that last year we were penalty laden, and that's the thing about last week was that we barely had any penalties on us.
We are certainly not the level of what we've seen the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's going to be key to getting better because, look, we all know what region we're in.
Oh, yes.
I mean, Region 2 in single-A football is the SEC of Class A football when you're talking about Clinch and Irwin and Charlton and Wilcox and Turner. I mean, those all solid programs, and if the Trojans are going to get to that next level and get over that hump, we know we've got to take that next step in defeating those teams.
That's right.
So I guess we'll get ready to take a break here with our segment here. Do want to mention, though, something going on with Piggly Wiggly. They got some great things going on. They've got a 3-day sale coming up, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And that's going to be every week, a 3-day sale. So check that out. Get down there and support them. They got some great deals, so come and check that out. Also, there's going to be a change in the way they do things. They're going from a weekly sales paper to a monthly sales paper, and that's a big thing coming there for Piggly Wiggly. It's going to be a change, but spoke to Mr. Widener today, and they've got some great things in the works, getting the word out to people. And you can go to Piggly Wiggly's Facebook page and check out the deals, check out the papers. And so a lot of great things going on with Piggly Wiggly, and check it out. And we thank them for being one of our big sponsors here. In fact, this first segment of our Tailgate Show tonight brought to you courtesy of Piggly Wiggly of McRae. So we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll jump into our Around the Region segment, also maybe go around the state some. So this is the Stamps Walker Tailgate Show. All right, we're back here for our second segment of the Stamps Walker Tailgate Show. And, of course, that first segment there, as we said, brought to you by Piggly Wiggly. Guys, let's go around the region here. Region 2A. And, of course, nobody has actually started region play yet. But we've got pretty good records for most of the team. Wilcox is 1-0. And, of course, we said Telfair 1-0. Irwin 2-0. Had a big win over Fitzgerald there in one of their games. Also a win over Berrien, I believe. Turner County's 2-0. Clinch 1-0. Charlton 1-1. Atkinson 1-1. And Lanier already playing 3 games, 0-3. Wow. So they got out to a big jump. But that's your region standings there. And looking at this, though, here, we got Charlton has got Appling County coming to town, and that is going to be You know, this is a different era for Charlton football, guys.
It is.
Rich McQuarter, the coach that had been there for so long, no longer there. And new head coach Russ.
Some people are happy about that.
Yeah, yeah, in region, especially in this region, because Coach McQuarter was such a great coach for a long time, and did a great job down there. Yeah, Russ Murray, the new coach at Charlton, they're going through a little bit of a transition. Some people say this team might be down a little bit, but guys, we always know that Charlton has athletes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you look at just all the sports programs around down there in Folkestone. Football, baseball, basketball,
softball too.
Softball, we saw it a week or so ago with softball. So I mean, especially you really shouldn't expect no less out of this football team. They've been good, and it looks like for a couple of more years to come that they're going to stay that way.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, you have to be aware, and Telfair has got to go. I know that we're looking ahead a little bit. Telfair's got to go down there. This is an underrated rivalry here, Wilcox and Hawkinsville.
It is, and to me, it would. Going off of who didn't you say Bleckley played him already? No, who was it played Hawkinsville already?
Bleckley has played
Bleckley has played
well. Destroyed them.
And destroyed them, yeah. And so it seems like a down year for Hawkinsville, but yes, it's a bordering counties.
Yep.
So it's, you know, hey, this guy knows this guy, and, you know, so you can see where it's a rivalry because you know each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and it goes back. I can't remember the exact start. The new coach at Wilcox County is Rob Stowe. So we already know of two new coaches in Region 2A with Russ Murray at Charlton and now Stowe at Wilcox. And
I think the last we heard, Coach Burleson is like only one of what, 2 or 3 returning coaches.
Mm-hmm. Wow, so a lot of changes in Region 2A.
And I know we'll get Clinch, but Clinch has also got a new coach.
That's right. Yep, yeah. Their legendary coach retired,
mm-hmm.
and so they have a new coach. So a lot of new faces here in Region 2A. Is Coach B now the dean of Region 2A?
If not, he's getting close.
I was going to say, if not, he's getting close to that high office chair there.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting right there. But so that's been we talked the region up here. That's been our any particular one of these games stands. I mean, we know the Clinch Brooks game, but how about one of the others? Does any of the others really stand out to you as one that jumps out?
With one we're picking, or just like
a game to be interested in?
Not one right off the top of my head, Mike, no.
I don't know why, but this Turner-Taylor game, it really kind of stands out to me because Turner is 2-0, and, you know, they've been one of those teams that have kind of been an Achilles heel for the Trojans. Yeah. One of those teams we've got to get past if we want to get over that 4-6, 5-5, 6-4 hump. Mm-hmm. And so we've got to one of the teams we've got to beat. So I'm curious how they do against Taylor County.
Oh yeah, you make a good point with that game, but for some reason, as similar as it looks to the, I guess you could say, Telfair Wheeler rivalry, I'm really interested in the Hawkinsville Wilcox rivalry because of the new coach at Wilcox, and I know Hawkinsville is down, and you can visually see it that they're down, but it always seems that these long-standing rivalries always seem to literally throw records out the door, and those are the most competitive games that you can watch, like at local football style and also at the college levels as well. But that game seems like that it's going to be closer than what many people are thinking. Of course, 20-point favorite going to Wilcox, I think, is what you said. But still, I don't. It may not be 20. It could be much closer.
Yep. So that one definitely one to watch. All right. Well, why don't we take a break? And we'll end this segment and take a break here. And so this Round the Region segment was brought to you courtesy of the Telfair County Recreation Department. So we'll take a break here on the Stamps Walker Tailgate Show. All right, we are back here on the Stamps Walker Tailgate Show 2019, getting you ready for the Telfair County Trojans and the Bleckley County Royals. Of course, we're recording here on a Thursday night, but tomorrow night, and when you will see this, you will just be about an hour from kickoff, right over there in Trojan Field. It'll be rocking as the Bleckley County Royals, with their purple and gold, looking like LSU, come in here to Trojan Field in what promises to be a great atmosphere. And we want everybody to get out here.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, of course, as we've dubbed it over the past couple of years, Mr. Deep said it over the PA system as well. We want a big 12th man.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And that's what we're looking forward to. Well, let's venture out of the region and go around the state a little bit. You got Hapeville Charter at Heard County. Heard County, one of those teams that you remember the quarterback down at the University of Florida, Emory Jones, who's playing behind Felipe Franks right now, came from Heard County. You know, they've been strong, and Hapeville Charter has been a team that has been building here the last few years. So that should be an interesting matchup right there. Hapeville currently 0-1, but they're number 2 in Class AA, and Heard County's 0-1 also, but they're number 9 in AA. So you got 2 big AA powerhouses. I think Fitzgerald traveled up and had to play Hapeville, a couple of years ago here in the playoffs.
2 or 3, I believe. I believe that's right.
Yeah. And so this is a program that's been building. I don't know a lot about these teams. They did both open the 2019 season, like we said, with a loss. Hapeville, though, had 225 yards rushing, but was just 9 for 25 passing for 65 yards in that game. But they lost to AAA's number 2 team, Cedar Grove. The Hornets, though, their lineup includes 3 4-star recruits.
Whoa.
Senior wide receiver Rico Powers, junior outside linebacker Xavier Carter, and junior wide receiver Jaquez Smith. So they are absolutely loaded again.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, I could see that that Heard County is Heard County favored in this game.
Let's see what the line is on that one, because this should be a very close one, I would think. In the Hapeville is a 14-point favorite. A little surprise there.
Oh, really? Yeah, that is kind of surprising. But, of course, with all these big-time guys that you've mentioned here, I mean, this is one of those, as Desmond Howard put it on College Game Day, one of those flip-a-coin games.
Yeah, no doubt. And Heard County lost 9 starters off last year's team, including quarterback Elijah Huzzy, who had 1,503 yards passing. He signed with East Tennessee. Their running back, Aaron Beasley, signed with Tennessee. And so defensive lineman Trey Owens, a preseason All-State team, though, he's back. So this will be a game to watch. This will definitely be one that we'll try to get you some scores on tomorrow night. But, guys, looking here to something we're more familiar with, and that is Swainsboro and Dublin. And the Dublin Irish have been pretty impressive so far here in the preseason, and also, just leading up to the season with what they have coming back.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I actually checked one of their scores while you and I were doing the Wheeler game, and last I checked, they were winning by a significant margin. And Dublin's always been one of those perennial schools that are very competitive and hard to beat, and especially on a good year when they really are hard to beat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know what Roger Holmes, their coach there, the great job he always does with that team in that region with Dodge County. Dublin is coming off. They actually did not play last week, but I believe they defeated ECI there in their very first game of the season. Guys, this is something to know, though. This is actually the 100th anniversary of the first recorded football game for Dublin and for Swainsboro. And so that took place on October 24th, 1919.
Oh, wow.
So 100 years ago, they started playing football, and Dublin leads that series 40-24-2. Dublin had a 21-0 victory, we said, over ECI in the first game. Dublin was led in rushing yards, actually outrushed ECI 144 to -4.
Dang.
Whoa. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but doesn't Dublin, they run that, what do you call that offense?
It's basically a wing tee.
Wing tee, so that Paul Johnson maybe type of
a little
offense in a way.
A little bit different, but yeah. In that same with a power running game out of that wing tee, they are tough to stop. They were a massive. I saw them play Tatnall Academy last year in a kickoff classic at Mercer and just absolutely destroyed Tatnall. Jaquez Evans, a fullback, linebacker, kicker, punter, and Power 5 recruit, scored 2 touchdowns, and they say he's as gifted as any football player I've had the chance to coach, is what Roger Holmes said.
High praise.
Yes, coming from Holmes. Swainsboro ran through Jefferson County 37-14 in its opener, and we know Jefferson's always strong. So Cade Yeomans was 15 of 26 for 237 yards. Javon Brown had 5 receptions. So we know this is a good old-fashioned regional matchup here between these two.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Especially with the 100th anniversary actually coming up. It's not exactly 100 years yet, according to the date. Didn't you say it would actually hit 100?
Yeah, October 24th.
October 24th. So, yeah, I mean, actually coming up on 100 years, go ahead and call it the 100th anniversary. This will be a significant game for both of them. You can tell they're going to both come out very competitive and try to win this game. And this is a hard one to pick as well. I mean, it's week by week, Mike. You actually are picking out some games that's hard to really go with.
Yeah, and it's not technically on our pick list, but Dublin won 20-13 last year, and they lead the all-time series 40-24-2. But both of these teams are ranked. Swainsboro is number 8 in Class A, Dublin number 4. So this should be a really good game. I'm looking forward to hearing how this game comes out.
It'll be very interesting. But show up to Trojan Field, though.
Yeah, definitely show up to Trojan Field. Looking at another one, Lee County is at Peach County. We all know about Lee County. Back-to-back state championships there in 6A. Peach County always plays up in classification outside of the region, actually playing 3 teams from Region 1 6A in a row.
Whoa.
As they defeated Northside last week in a big win there. Now taking on Lee County. Lee County won the game down there last year 33-0. Lee County hasn't even, you're going to love this, they haven't even played a full game yet. Their first game of the season over Dougherty County was stopped at halftime due to bad weather. Then their next game against Life Christian of Virginia was stopped in the fourth quarter 27-0 due to sportsmanship issues on Life Christian's sideline.
Oh,
Lord.
Let that sink in just a minute.
Interesting.
Life Christian School and sportsmanship issues, but
of all things.
We'll move along for that. But Lee County always has tremendous athletes. They've built a quarterback. Kyle Toole is back, 21 of 33 for 285 yards last week. But Peach County had a great game last week. Tyjon Woolfolk had a touchdown runs of 51 and 38, finished with 100 yards on 4 carries. And then we all know about the outstanding linebacker Sergio Allen, who's going to Clemson, had a pick 6 in that game. We didn't pick this one, but that should be another. I think Lee County is a slight favorite, not as big a favorite as they were last year. I'm going to pull that up here. Yeah, Max Preps has installed them as a 6-point favorite in that game.
I would tend to agree. I think going off what you have talked about with Peach, and we know Lee County's history, so I would have to agree. I think it's within a touchdown at the most.
What you think? This going to be close when we're not really picking it, but close, or it's in the valley, so.
Oh, yeah, I'd say it's anywhere between 6 to 10 points of decisive victory on whichever way it goes. But like you said, they're playing 3 6A schools in a row, and whenever they play up in class, they always match the competitions about what it's seen to be. So I think Peach is really going to give a good run.
Yeah, and of course that was a big win for Peach last week over Northside, and beat them 21-13, and actually the 21-0 early in that game and kind of coasted after that point. So that's going to be one to watch. Northside coming off that, they're traveling to Jones County. This is a little bit of interest because, correct me if I'm wrong, but Warner Robbins' head coach went to Jones County.
Coach Mike Chastain.
Chastain.
Right. Yeah.
And so the Greyhounds have been pretty good here the last few years. Northside coming off that loss, got to go up to Gray, make that trip. And also the Greyhounds are 2-0 in their first season. So this could be a really interesting game here.
Oh yeah, no doubt, especially when the you said the coach from Warner Robins, right?
Yep.
Went there. So yeah, of course, coming off that weird state title game that, they were part of.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
For lack of a better
almost winning a state title, but and then moving on to Jones County.
Yeah, that's that's kind of odd, and I'm pretty sure Warner Robins actually hired a new coach from within staff, I believe. So that's a good thing. But still, looking at it, Jones County to me looks like to be a team to really watch. Northside, how they kind of got handled by Peach last week.
Yeah.
So I mean, looking at early impressions, I think I have my pick in mind. I'm not going to reveal it yet, but this is going to be a really good game.
Yeah. And something I didn't mention is the way that job opened up is that Jones County coach Justin Rogers went to Colquitt County, and we all know what happened there as to why the Colquitt County job opened up. So that's your musical chairs there.
That's the Dallas Cowboy type of job in the state of Georgia.
Yeah,
everybody wants that job at Colquitt County.
And Jones County's been getting better every year. I saw them play Morgan County here a few years back, and I mean that program has gotten better and better. That might be the best game of the week. Jones County just a 1-point favorite according to Max Preps against Northside. And I do need to give a disclaimer about these point spreads. These point spreads from Max Press are just for informational purposes only. So it's just their prediction, and I don't think I need to go any further than that. But just want to make sure that disclaimer is out there. Parkview and Lowndes. Of course, Jeff Francoeur's alma mater, Parkview.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's been a while since they've been the powerhouse, but down to Lowndes County. They had a thrilling game last year that Parkview came back and won 39-27. Wow. And so that was one, I believe, during one of our games, we kept watching that score change. And so that'll be one. Woodward Academy at Blessed Trinity, and Blessed Trinity, of course, the defending state champion last year as well, had the linebacker that was going to Notre Dame that was originally committed to Georgia and went to Notre Dame. So a lot of great games in the state of Georgia. Get out there and support your team. If you're a Telfair Trojan fan, get here to Trojan Field and watch them against Bleckley County. All right, so why don't we take another break and come back, and we'll get ready for our fourth and final segment.
So we'll include our picks in this.
Yeah, headgear picks.
Yeah, headgear.
So
if only we had headgear.
Yeah, if only we had headgear picks. But our third segment here brought to you courtesy of the folks at the Merchants and Citizens Bank. This is the Stamps Walker Tailgate Show. We'll be back with our predictions and give you the keys to how Telfair wins tomorrow night here on Deep. All right, we are back here at Jimmy Clark's softball field with Trojan Field in the background, and
that is if you can see it.
Yeah. There is some sprinklers going back there, but this time tomorrow night, this place will be rocking with the Telfair. About this time, the Telfair County Band will be on the field doing their halftime performance, and hopefully the Trojans will have a lead at halftime. But we'll talk that up in a little bit. Now for our famous picks segment, and this is brought to you by Deep and Deeper Cleaning for a really deep clean called Deep and Deeper Cleaning, and we'll put TJ to work.
Hey, do you want to quickly review? I mean, now that we do have a actual leaderboard.
Yes, give us. Let's see how we did and how big a hole that I'm in already.
I know Jacob Mullis missed week 1, so he was 0-0 in the first week. So going into week 2, official week 1, he made it count, going 4-1, taking first place so far on this leaderboard.
Okay.
I am sitting in second place at 4-3.
Okay.
And you, Caleb, and Mr. Deep are at a third place tie altogether, sitting at 3-4 apiece.
Wow. So 3 and 4. So gotta be. I guess I'm gonna have to think hard here and not take as many chances maybe as thinking about.
You can always take the Mr. Deep approach.
All right, Jacob, I'm gonna give you the honors of of telling us which game we're gonna look at first here.
Oh yeah, sure. Let's do this. Well, let's go in order and let's talk. No, I take that back. Being we have it in front of us, let's start with the Clinch and Brooks game.
Okay. All right. Clinch County at Brooks County, 7:30 Friday night at Veterans Day Stadium in Quitman, Georgia. My bad, not Colquitt, Georgia. Quitman. Clinch 1-0. They're number 1 in Class A Public. Brooks County is 1-0. They're number 8 in Double A. Jacob, Brooks had dominated this series.
Yeah, they
up till last year.
Up till last year, 6 victories out of the last 7 years. That streak was broken in 2018 when Clinch won 37-7.
And I mean, totally dominated this game. But for Clinch, some losses from last year.
Especially one big loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. But I just don't see it hurting them.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Tresman Marshall is who we're referring to, who was linebacker and running back.
Linebacker, running back, place kicker, water boy,
whatever
else you want to say.
Well, you make a great point, Caleb, because Tyler Moorhead is back. He ran for 61 yards on 2 carries last week. Then on the defensive side, had 5 tackles from the secondary. He's now pretty much playing quarterback, rushed for 128 yards. And returned a kickoff for 85 yards and a touchdown. That was in the 46-28 win over Hebron Christian in the first game. And then Michael Walker, a new guy, rushed for 128 yards on only 5 carries. So it's Clinch County, like you say, they've got plenty of athletes.
So basically, to really kick this off, this is a big-time game, especially with them playing up in class. I mean, out of region and up in class.
I mean,
and you've got,
still Double A, but it's up in class.
Yeah, it's up in class, so it's only one class up here. I mean, you look at Brooks as well. You look at a 63-50 victory over Mitchell County as well. So
63 points.
63, of course, 63 points. So you've got offense galore in that game there on both sides. Defense really didn't apparently took the night off that game. So really, kicking off these picks here, this is one to really put some thought into before you really just throw one out there. So, Mike, who you go with?
Ooh, Clinch is the defending state champion in Class A. Actually, 2-time defending state champion. Am I not correct? Did they not defeat Irwin 2 years in a row? Is that right?
Oh, yeah, you may be right. I'm not exactly sure. I know it 1 year. I know.
And of course, their head coach retired. They have a new head coach there, but man, this is tough because Brooks County had 2 guys go for over 100 yards last week. Mm-hmm. Devin Edwards had 143 yards and 5 touchdowns, and Amari Arnold had 143 yards and 1 touchdown. This is tough, but you know what? The game's at Brooks County. Yeah. The 63 points last week, I know you don't know much about the defense there for the team they played, but, Brooks is also, looking at this is a Max Preps, a 4-point favorite. I think I give the nod to Brooks at home. I think these two running backs, Edwards and Arnold, have a big night. I'm going to go Brooks County in this one.
Mike,
in a close one. Brooks wins. Put it this way: Brooks wins, but Clinch covers the spread.
Mike, I'm going to have to say this. Well, let's hope you and I aren't wrong about this. I do believe that home field advantage comes into play. I know Clinch is going to be their normal self. I'm sure they are, but let's hope you and I aren't wrong with this. I'm going to go with you, go against the grain of the other 2 guys who have already picked, and go with Brooks. I'm going to say what's their mascot? I was going to call them by their mascot.
Brooks County is the.
Well, it doesn't matter. So
yeah, I can't remember.
It doesn't matter, but go Brooks. Let's hope you and I aren't wrong about this.
Yep. All right, Caleb. You can. Let's see where you going with this.
So I get to break the tie.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Mike, going off the stats and stuff that you have given out, and as you said, they've beaten Clinch 6 out of the last 7 matchups. I believe you said.
Let me look at that.
6 out of 7.
6 out of 7. Okay.
Until last year.
Until last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, but I'm gonna pick Clinch. I know we see them every season.
Yeah.
And I haven't had the opportunity to see Brooks play But since I'm gonna go off with, I'm gonna pick the team that we see each season, and I just think there's still too much Clinch has to offer.
So Mike,
talent.
So Mike, looking at it, that was a 2-2 split on that round of picks there with Clinch and Brooks. Mr. Deep and Jacob Mullis going with Clinch. You and I went with Brooks.
Okay.
So
and Caleb breaks the
tie.
Breaks the tie.
Oh yeah, that did break the tie. So
Yep.
yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, and Caleb breaking the tie with Clinch. So that was a 2-2 split. So let's go with the other high school game, Northside and Jones.
Wow. What would I say the line on this? This one I think was even closer, wasn't it?
I think you said.
About
I think you said like one or 2 points.
Yeah, Max Preps has this game as a 1-point favorite for Jones County there in Gray at home. Who wants to go first on this one?
I reckon I'll start that off. Looking at this is going to be very close. You know, my confidence in picking the 6A school, the Northside Eagles. Of course, they've had much success in the past. I've loved watching them play every time I got to on GPV. But looking at what happened against Peach last week, something makes me think that I really shouldn't go with them. So I'm gonna side with Mr. Deep. I'll go ahead and give his pick away here. I'll side with Mr. Deep and say, go Greyhounds. They get it done.
Okay.
Me or you, Mike?
I'll let you go next on this one.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna try to take it right to my point here. I think Coach Mike Chastain inherited a really talented team from Coach Justin Rogers, who now, of course, like we said, at Colquitt County, and also going off what Jacob said, kind of a north side hit a bump in the road last week. So, and I think don't get me wrong, north side's good, but I just think Jones County has too much right now, and again, they're loaded, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And so I picked Jones.
Okay. Greyhound is a fast animal, right?
Right.
Yeah, very fast.
Very fast.
It's the fastest dog, I do believe.
Eagle can fly pretty fast too, can't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know one's low to the ground or lower to the ground, one's high to the ground. But the key to me in this game is the high-flying offense of Jones County. Quarterback Hunter Coslow, a 2,400-yard passer in 2018. He returns this year. He was 38 of 63 for 514 yards in the Greyhounds' first 2 games. And Jontavius Robertson had 6 catches for 133 yards and a touchdown. He actually scored on a 94-yard punt return. I think the combination of Coslow and Robertson is just too much talent. I like Jones County. I like the Greyhounds to run away with it. I say they win by, but don't be surprised if they win by more than a touchdown.
Oh, okay.
So looking at the split between the 5 of us in that game, 4-1. The only person going with Northside was Jacob Mullis.
Wow. So, okay.
Going into the NCAA big-time game, it looks like to me, coming off of a pretty convincing win. I know it was a smaller school, but LSU just seemed to have manhandled Georgia Southern. Joe Burrow throwing 5 touchdowns in that game, just showing off as a good quarterback in the SEC here. So LSU taking on the Texas Longhorns, some Big 12 action, and
in Austin.
Texas. Yeah.
College game day.
Oh, it was the
I believe
okay.
so.
So going into this, let's see what we do. Who we got, Caleb?
Oh, let me go first. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, before tonight and before the season started, to be honest, I would have said Texas with no questions.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw the highlights of the LSU game against Georgia Southern, and the offense intrigued me. Their new offensive coordinator come from the Saints.
Yes, that's right. He's the passing game coordinator.
Yeah. So maybe not the offense coordinator, the passing game.
But he's definitely got his signature on this offense.
Yes, right. And the way they talked about it on, I believe it was SEC Network, and just when the defense done one thing, LSU was doing the other thing. So it opened the field wide open for the receivers and the running backs. To me, this is probably going to be the hardest game for me to pick on this round.
Yeah, me too, personally.
I'm going to pick Texas because of Sam Ehlinger.
Okay, and Ehlinger, you know, they've got the big 6'6" receiver, Johnson.
That's right.
You know, they going back to our Big 12 preview. If I remember right, Texas lost a lot on defense.
I believe you're right. Yeah.
And so especially Gary Johnson, the linebacker. Clyde Hilaire, the running back for LSU. Don't forget him. I know this passing game is opened up now. Texas kind of trolled LSU a little bit this week with some T-shirts that at practice that said, "We are the real DBU."
Oh.
Not the best school to troll when you're talking about defensive backs at LSU.
Boy, hush.
I mean,
hush.
But man, this part of me wants to think because it's in Austin, lean to Texas a little. But I was just so impressed with LSU and Joe Burrow and the way he played last week. Now, this will be more of a test. There's no doubt, having to go into a hostile environment. But I don't know. I just think overall LSU's more talented. I think they have the better defense. And in the end, I think the Fighting Tigers from Baton Rouge. And Coach O get it done, and he has a big bowl of crawfish etouffee to celebrate after the game. So go Tigers!
Real quick, this is the only game I'm gonna give a point spread on. I'm doing it by 3 points. Texas by 3.
And Texas has a good kicker, if I remember right.
All right, so I get to break the tie this time. So, of course, the home field advantage, I really don't see it playing that much of a part in this game. There's something about the LSU defense. They lost big-time linebacker Devin White, and I know they had another big-time defensive player at linebacker, I believe, too. But also,
Divinity is still back.
But Divinity, he's coming back too. So I think on both sides of the ball, big-time plays are coming from Joe Burrow. Going to see a couple of good runs by the running back. What's his name again?
Clyde Hilaire.
And
also the running back, the incoming freshman, John Emery Jr. as well.
John Emery Jr. And also, I'm expecting a big game out of the defensive back. I think his name is Grant Delpit.
Yes, their safety. One of the best defensive backs in the country, potential All-American.
I'm looking at Delpit to really try to get Sam Ehlinger's number early. I mean, I like Sam Ehlinger as a quarterback. I think he's going to give him a fit early, but I think especially Delpit and the LSU defense will eventually adapt and come home with a win. And as you said, Coach O will get it done, have a bowl of crawfish to celebrate the victory. And as he says at the end of every press conference, go Tigers.
Yeah. And another note on this, watch the matchup between the big receiver and the cornerback Christian Fulton, who I was impressed with. You know, last year, the corner that they had that was so good that went pro.
Yes, I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of his name.
But anyway, I thought Fulton played as well as he did against Georgia. I really like that matchup. And also with Ehlinger, you know, Texas against Georgia especially, and they like to do design power quarterback runs. Look for those LSU linebackers to really come up and hit Ehlinger and introduce themselves to Mr. Ehlinger right off the bat.
Next up was a really big game last year, and it was pretty much the deciding factor, if you want to say this, in the quarterback battle in Death Valley. So Clemson will actually be hosting Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher's Aggies coming into Death Valley this year. They played in Aggie Land last year, so this was a big-time game. I personally believe, you and I have both said this too, and we're all in agreement that game would not have been won by the Tigers if it weren't for both Kelly Bryant and Trevor Lawrence there.
Yeah.
So if you going into this year, it's in Death Valley. Dabo Swinney, I'm sure, will have the team well prepared, and Jimbo Fisher's going to do his job as well. So, but who gets it done, Mike?
You remember I made that bold prediction on the show that
Texas A&M's going to end up
beating
somebody
out of one of the big three, Georgia, Alabama, or Clemson. And then in our big picks show, I said it would be Clemson.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Are you going to flop on it again?
I'm in a hole already.
Yeah, so you're not taking any chances.
I'm in a big hole. And the point spread on this, I think, is like 17.5. And the game's at Death Valley.
Oh.
Which I think that's a bit much.
Yeah, I do too.
But the game's in Death Valley, and the thing that impressed me the most with Clemson in that Georgia Tech game, we know about Kelly Bryant and those receivers, but when ETN, we already knew about him, but then the depth of a couple of running backs after him, Lynn J. Dixon, the young man from Taylor County we talked about. I just think in the end, Clemson, I'm on about face on this one, and say Clemson wins.
I mean, well, right now, everybody's chasing Jacob Mullis. Nobody wants to take a chance. So I mean, of course, with it being in Death Valley, I mean, really taking a chance would be kind of almost just really risking it. You look at it, Texas A&M really put up a fight with them last year, but I just don't see it I just don't see it happening again this year. Dabo's got too much. You got the running backs, and also if it gets too high of a point spread, I don't really think it is, but a lot of people say take Trevor Lawrence out of the game and you've got Clemson by the neck. No, you don't. The Chase Bryce, backup quarterback behind Trevor Lawrence, he's right there with Trevor Lawrence. Nobody has lost a step, in my mind, if Trevor Lawrence exits this game, which I don't look for him to do. So Clemson gets it done pretty easily. So I'll say go Tigers.
I'm going to pick Clemson also. I don't believe 17 points of a difference there. I do not believe that. I see it a lot. I think this game will be a lot. I might be wrong, but I see this game as almost a look in the mirror type of last year.
Oh,
a
cool.
resemblance.
Oh, we got a clean sweep of Clemson across the board with the picks there, so we've got that done. Last game before we close stuff out is Carolina. It's an NFL game. Carolina playing host to the Los Angeles Rams.
You know, the Rams, I mean, this is a team played in the Super Bowl last year. But here lately, all the talk in the NFL, they're kind of like a forgotten team. And, you know, you think about it, I know Todd Gurley's got some knee issues. We don't really know about it.
Our CEO is getting wet.
The sprinkler has come on here. And so we may have to hurry here.
Of course.
But, you know, Carolina, I think they'll be better.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be that significantly better. I still think if I had to make a prediction in the NFC South, I'm going to say Saints win that division. Falcons finish second. I think Carolina's third. So against the Rams, the defending NFC champions, I just don't see it. I got to go with the Rams.
You know, Mike, I'm going to have to go with you on that too. I mean, of course, Sean McVay had said that they had Todd Gurley on a specialized rehab program where he seemed to be doing really good at it. And if he comes back at full health, I do believe yet again he has been and he will be a force to be reckoned with at the running back position. Also, defensively, huge pickup in my mind by picking up Clay Matthews at the linebacker spot. So I think that'll really do him a lot of favors there. There's a couple of people on the Panthers that I absolutely love too. Christian McCaffrey, probably the best running back selection that the Panthers really have ever made in my mind. You also got backup quarterback Will Grier, who's really proven himself to be a good NFL quarterback so far throughout the preseason. And
let's face it, with Cam Newton's injury history, Will Grier could see some action.
Oh, absolutely. And Cam Newton had come out a day or so ago, said that he felt really good, but you never know the history behind it, like you said, the history. So, I mean, I look for this to be competitive early, but as the game goes on, I mean, it's pretty much going to be the Rams will just pick it up and walk away with it.
Yeah, I think Jared Goff's going to have a big game as well. Caleb, what you think?
I'm going to pick the Rams also. I think Sean McVay, who is the play caller, has too much on offense with Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp, two receivers who are excellent guys. And then Jacob mentioned the pickup of Clay Matthews on defense. Wade Phillips. If you watch NFL football, you know Wade Phillips for his defensive mind.
Yeah, Wade's the man.
He's the man,
no doubt about it.
He knows his defense. Yeah. So, and then there's question marks in my opinion, with Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Will he be okay, or will he not be okay? Who knows?
Yeah.
I have my doubts, so I'm picking the Rams.
And another point, let's not forget, the Rams defense did a pretty doggone good job shutting the Patriots down in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was the most defensive field Super Bowl that I've ever watched since I've watched football.
So that's pretty impressive defense.
All right. So looking across the board, we had only Mr. Deep went with the Panthers, and I'm sure the home field advantage kind of played in with what Mr. Deep probably was picking with that. Of course, I mean, I see it as a possible win, but like I said, I think the Rams would walk away with it late and pick up the win. So going forward to close things out, what else we got, Mike?
All right, now let's turn our attention to tomorrow night and just some keys to the game. You look at Bleckley County, of course, some losses there. They had the outstanding running back a year ago, Nakeem Farrow, and also their quarterback, Lassiter, Coach Lassiter's son. They're both gone. So this Bleckley County team be a little bit different, and they will turn to quarterback Sasser there, and Dominic Sasser, and a plethora of wide receivers. I believe one of their Bill Bailey, a name to watch as well. But one of the big time players on this team is going to be this offensive lineman, a young man that you need to really get to know, because he is, and I'm going to find him here on their list.
Last name Mims.
Mims, that's right. Mims, I believe it is, I'm trying to find it. He is 6'7", 295 pounds. Yep, Mims. This is the young man's first name, Amarius Mims. This is going to be a big-time matchup for the Telfair County defensive line. We love the way our defensive line play. We got Big Hayward Edie up there. But this guy be playing tackle most of the time. They might even line him up at tight end. So this is going to be a huge matchup for the Trojans to find a way somehow to get some pressure on the young quarterback with that stud there at tackle.
Yeah, you're right, and I'm not really sure exactly who, just to point out a single name to really put in a matchup with him. I don't know. You may get if you want to match big on big, put Hayward Edie against him, and if you want to match still a sizable player with who's more physical and a little more agile, hey, see what Patrick can do with the kid, because I seriously think Patrick would be able to do a pretty good job with him. But I mean, the defensive coordinator, remind me who's mainly coaching the defense with this staff here, Caleb.
I think it's Coach Masella.
I was gonna say,
don't hold me to that.
Best I could remember, it was Coach Masella. So if it is Coach Masella, I mean, he's got some options. I mean, the first two names that really come to my head to try to match up with him may be either Hayward or Patrick. I mean, or unless you want to get Ernest coming off the end, or maybe even Trey trying to get by him.
Yeah, Patrick Tukes is starting at defensive end, because we've got Hayward playing inside. So to me, Patrick, with the game he had last week, being able to get in that backfield, I would look for the Trojans to line him up over there, or maybe try to bring a lot of extra pressure.
That too.
And like we saw last week, but to me that may be the matchup of the football game, is Patrick Tukes going up against Mims.
That right there seems to be something to watch.
Or at times, like you said, Mcneal, who's going to be much smaller, but quickness, can he get around him? So I think that'll be a big time matchup. And then the other thing, can the Trojan offensive line build off of what they did last week and carry it over, going up against a more formidable front?
Yeah, you're right. And I'll actually go ahead and spit out one of the points. That's what they need to do. You need to build off what you did against Wheeler. This is like you said, it's a more formidable front. You've got bigger, stronger, and more than likely a couple of more faster guys up there. They higher ranked school. So you got to build upon what you did. Just be sure there. Give Noah enough time to make a play, whether it be tucking and running, handing it off, or making a pass. Give him some time. Kind of do like you, or not kind of do like you did last week as well, and don't rack up a couple of penalties up there at that front. Up there at the front, don't. Penalties all around, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not just at the offensive line, but the offensive line has really got a test next week. Not next week, tomorrow night. Sorry.
That water's getting closer, so real quick, just looking at tomorrow night, one more thing I'll throw out there too is no turnovers. You remember last year the game flipped on a pick six.
Yeah, that's right.
Right before halftime, if I remember right. And so Trojans have got to avoid that. And I think if they do that, this game could come down to a fourth quarter game and be very interesting. So, key player for tomorrow night.
I think I'm gonna pick Cameo.
Okay, Cameo.
On defense.
All right, on defense. I'm going to go Manny Cone on offense.
Manny. All right, I'm going to go to the defensive side of the ball again, especially with we talking about matching up with Mims. I'd probably say second best player on the defense from the Wheeler County game, Ernest Mcneal. I honestly want to see Ernest try to see if he can do a little bit of a friendly competition, try to outshine Patrick in this game. We named Patrick the defensive player of the game against Wheeler, so because I'm very curious to see what Ernest can do in this game. Maybe if he gets matched up with big boy Mims over there, a little bit quicker of a player, see if you can get around him, rack up a sack or a tackle or two.
All right, so great points, and we'll be live around 7:00 tomorrow night with the Bank of Lumber City pregame show, and we'll break it down some more. But this has been fun, guys. Have really enjoyed it, and I tell you what, want to I'll let Jacob do the honors here if we can find it here. I'll let you thank all our sponsors again.
For one last time tonight, big thanks goes out to the sponsors. We couldn't do this if it weren't for you. Telfair Snapshots, Telfair County Chamber of Commerce, Merchants and Citizens Bank, Deep and Deeper Cleaning, Telfair County Recreation Department, Friends of Little Mulkey State Park, CO Defense, Herman Moore State Farm Insurance Agent, Piggly Wiggly, Stamps Walker Insurance Agency, Bank of Lumber City, and Telfair County Bank. And, of course, this has been the Stamps Walker Tailgate Show. So, for Jacob Harrell, Caleb Harrell, guys, and Mike Spires here. It's been a lot of fun tonight. Looking forward to tomorrow night. We will see you at Trojan Field. Go Trojans.